What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu, Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. As always, bringing in a very incredible guest. So sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is an author, speaker, successful entrepreneur, and also a beloved veteran. And today is his birthday. So please welcome and happy birthday to Art Costello. Art, thank you for being here today. I'm super pumped. I can't wait to have this conversation.
I am super pumped too. This is going to be a great time to share everything that we want to talk about today. We can talk about it's my birthday and we're going to celebrate.
It's my birthday. I can talk about what I want to talk. I'm going to really change the words in that song. Well, so you've lived a very big life. You currently live in Austin, Texas, which is, we just talked, a very fun town. You served our country as a Marine, which thank you very much for your service. And then you worked as a talent scout in the entertainment industry. So that's very interesting. So you were a scout and now you kind of are a public figure. So what is that like?
For me, it's been a really fun transition. It's just the way my life has flowed. It just seemed to go from scouting talent to becoming a talent, but it's really about finding yourself. If you're open to things and you're willing to try things, that's the way I've always lived my life. I've done everything that I've ever wanted to do. Today's my 75th birthday, and I really can reflect back at this moment and say, I've done everything I wanted to do. I've lived this full life. But when I really think about it, it's because I've been so open-minded and I'm so open to people. I'm so open to opportunities. Honestly, there's only one way to put it. I'm just open. I love having conversations with people. I can get on a subway in New York or the train in Chicago and strike up a conversation with anybody that's sitting next to me. So I've never lived in this space that a lot of people live in, fear.
Yeah.
I don't live there. I don't, I think maybe part of it's have been in Vietnam when I learned that really fear is the only thing that really ever holds you back from doing not only what you want to do, but for living. And I think you just learn when you're under those circumstances that life has this so much to offer if we'll just let it offer it to us and we're willing to take it. So that's my message for today. Let's be open.
Well, I completely agree. And we are kind of on the same page with that. I definitely am very open to opportunities, open to, I usually say yes to pretty much anything because you never know where it's going to take you. And I think that is the best way to experience incredible things in your life. Sometimes it's not always going to pan out the way you'd like it to, but I think it gives you opportunities to learn something new, meet someone new, and just gives you a new perspective on life. I don't always strike up conversations because sometimes when I'm out, I just want to be left alone, but I am friendly. And, I tend to, if I do strike up a conversation, I find that people start talking to me and telling me their whole life story. But I love that. That's amazing. So tell us about becoming an author. When did you decide to write a book and what is your book about?
In 2006, I lost the love of my life to ovarian cancer. It's a long story and we really don't have time for it today, but I will tell you that we were married for 35 years, just had a great life. We've done all the things, like I said, we always wanted to do, had a business and, had done all these things. And then all of a sudden, it was all yanked up from underneath me because going back to when I was at 9 years old, I was abandoned. In 2006, when I lost my wife, even though we were preparing for it, and you never are prepared, but I went through all those things, I still felt abandoned after she left. And I fell apart and I started drinking. Never had been a big drinker in my life, never been a big woman chaser. And I started doing a lot of things I had never done at 60 years old.
Yeah.
And my kids came and said, you promised mom you wouldn't do that. And when I was 9, and abandoned, I went to the top of this hill and had a conversation with my maker. And it changed my life because I heard this voice that just said, your job is to just do and just do right and just be good.
Yeah.
At 60 years old, after having lost my wife, I went and had laid on my lawn at the ranch and looked up into the sky and asked God what was going to become of me again. And I heard a voice in me that said, I've given you all the tools. You just need to do.
Yeah.
Rejuvenated me again. I got up from that, went in, got on the internet or got on my computer, started writing.
Wow.
And the part of it is that I started writing, just to write. And then all of a sudden, it started to dawn on me that all my life I've expected goodness. I've expected to be good. And what I expected is what I had received.
Right.
So I ended up writing a book called Expectation Therapy. And really what it is, it's a path that I use to heal myself through every traumatic event in my life, through being a Marine in Vietnam, just lots of different things, you know, all the things that life presents us in everyday life.
Yeah.
I have always been able to overcome it with just because I've expected things to always work out. I've expected things to be a learning thing. I look at everything as a learning experience. Nothing ever happens to me.
Yeah.
Everything happens for me. And I take any event like that and just turn it into a positive. And that's what expectation therapy is really about, is being positive. My background is in psychology. I went back and did some work in positive psychology because I was interested in that and how it affected human behavior. So
Yeah.
we started doing research about expectations. It led me into speaking at Harvard and different universities around the country, not to students, but to the faculties.
Wow.
And it just led me, like I said, if you're open and you follow the path, it just happens, you know. And I don't force things. I just live, and every day I just live it to the best, and I
Yeah.
love it and enjoy it. Like, so.
That's amazing. Do you feel that having that kind of mindset was something you had to teach yourself, or was it ingrained in you at a certain point? Because I feel like people that have experienced traumatic things are a lot stronger, creating a mindset that benefits their life moving forward because they've seen how bad it can really be.
Really, I think for me, at 9 years old, the abuse that I took from teachers and students, it's a long story, but we lived in a very small town. And when my mom and dad broke up, my dad moved to the big city and my mom stayed at the farm. And we were very poor. We didn't have running water in the house. We didn't have indoor plumbing. You know, we had an outhouse.
Yeah.
And, you know, and this is back in the late 50s. And I think the abuse from other people drove me up that hill where I gained a faith and a belief system that was just that it didn't matter what anybody said about me. It only mattered what I thought of me, who I am, and I controlled it. It was the only thing in my life I could control is me. I
Yeah.
couldn't control anybody around me. So I controlled me. And that's made all the difference. And then I think when I went in the Marine Corps at 18, I learned structure, discipline, and of course, semper fi, faithfulness. And
Yeah.
it just, you know, it's just an input of a whole bunch of different resources that brought me to become the man that I am.
Yeah.
You know, because I try to be as compassionate and kind to people. I know what it's like to have been mistreated. I know what it's like to be abandoned. And I just use all the experiences throughout my life. I know what it's like to be really loved by someone. You know, I mean, and when you know these things, it just gives it gave me a sense of security
Yeah.
and a sense of belief. It gave me a belief system that I am who I am, and no one can put me down or change it, not through their words. I only answer to one person.
Yeah.
That's a good Lord above, and I'll answer to Him for my foopas,
Yeah.
and and He'll reward me for my good deeds if He works that way. I'm not sure He does, but
Absolutely. And I think that you are so open and to have that religion, that spirituality to be open to allowing him to speak to you is very powerful. You know, I'm sure some people don't necessarily, I mean, I do. We should probably share the same faith in a lot of ways, but I'm sure a lot of people are like, that sounds like a little kooky. You know, have you gotten that from anybody telling that story?
yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I've heard that, and you know, and you brought something up. My faith uh, it's multidimensional because I have Jewish blood in me.
Yeah.
I was raised Catholic
Oh, wow.
till I was 8 years old, and now I'm just non-denominational. You
Yeah.
know, and I just believe, you know, that God is all around us and loves us, and
Yeah, I have a similar story, so that's very interesting. But yeah, I think that just to believe in God and just to believe in, it's something that's bigger than us is very powerful. And then, I do believe that, our story is pretty much already written. The only thing is, though, we all have free will, and if we are making choices that are the right choices, we are going to be on that path that is for our greater good, right?
that is true.
So, what is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Can we get a round of applause today? Woo! Today I'm excited to announce Manscaped launched their Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, it's for your not so private parts. I'm talking about a leveled up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent. And let me tell you something. Oh, it smells so good. My man wears this every day. This is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe. Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com and use the code LABELFREE20 for 20% off and free shipping. And enjoy. Yeah. Well, I think that's amazing. And you are blessed that you took a lot of that trauma in your life and turned it into something beautiful and have written a book that is, about expectation therapy, which is, I think a lot of people have expectations in life that probably aren't the best for them. So for you to kind of flip the script on that is awesome. So did you expect to become a speaker from writing that book, or how did that transpire?
You're going to be shocked. I had no expectations at all.
Great answer.
No, I really didn't. I didn't have any expectations. I wrote it because if it helped one person,
yeah,
that's what mattered. But really, for me, I wrote the book for me. It was part of me, my journey in this life. And if God chooses to use it as a tool to teach other people, because I believe that our expectations, and Aristotle and Plato both wrote about this very early on in 633 BC,
yeah,
about expectations and how important they are to people. It's the foundation that we build our lives on.
yeah.
Our expectations are what this country has been built on, what this world has been built on. Because if you'll stop and think about it, you do not do one single thing without it being preceded by an expectation.
That's true. Yeah.
And
I try to have zero expectations in life because it's better that way.
well,
For me,
the better part of it is you cannot not have expectations. There are certain expectations you can't have, but so much of our expectations are innate. They're inside of us. They're in our subconscious that we don't even know that it's there. That's why it becomes very important to either have a positive expectation or a negative expectation. Because, like I
Okay.
told you before, everything starts and stops with an expectation.
Right, right.
I mean,
So what would
Henry,
be an example of a positive expectation?
uh, a very simple one is a positive expectation is an affirmation that you make today is going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah.
That's an expectation. They
Okay.
call them affirmations, but it's really, when you get down to the basics,
Yeah.
having a positive expectation about what the day is going to be turn out, what you want,
Right.
what you require it to be.
I like that.
A
What would be
negative
but yeah, okay, go ahead. I was going to ask, what would be a negative expectation?
a negative expectation is getting up out of the bed in the morning and saying, "Holy crap, I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to get out of this bed today. I want to lay here and pull the sheets over my head and just vegetate."
Yeah.
You know, any kind of expectation without an action is just merely a thought in our heads, and it
Yeah.
stays there. And the precursor to all the actions that we take are based either in a positive or a negative expectation. So learning to manage those expectations and how to, I always tell people, it's not so much what you expect, it's how you expect.
Yeah.
Because if you expect in the positive, uh, Henry Ford was the great proponent of it. He said, uh, positive expectations lead to great success. And it's because without expectation, you don't become a creative mind. You don't start thinking out of the box, or you don't start thinking differently.
Yeah.
And thinking differently is where we become our most creative human person.
Yeah.
So in the negative, and you can tell, that's why I love talking to people. I can tell usually within 1 or 2 minutes of talking to somebody how they expect, and I can tell how the conversation's going to go and how I should take the flow.
Yeah.
So in any kind of therapeutic session or anything like that, I'm listening intently to what the person's saying. Of course, when most people come to talk to you about for some kind of
Excuse me.
that's right, any kind of help or anything,
Yeah.
they're usually in a state of distress.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to see all through that to help them. But I helping people manage their expectations relieves so much anxiety, stress, uh, indecision,
Yeah.
non-movement, lethargic
Yeah.
people. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it does, because you become creative and excited.
Yeah.
It creates an excitement in life. So
I
I
love that.
hope that all makes sense.
It did. It did make perfect sense. So Art, where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more about what you do?
My website is theartofexpectation.com, and there's any number of ways on there. Facebook, Instagram, you can connect with me, LinkedIn, all the normal things that we use to socialize nowadays are all there. But really, mainly my website. I also offer an online course that we're actually in the process of redesigning right now. Going to make it there's going to be a basic course for
Okay.
teaching you how to manage expectation. Then there's going to be courses, sub courses for divorce, losing a spouse or a loved one, kids going from college to the workforce, kids going from high school to college. There's going to be a whole litany of courses that we're going to teach that'll be affordable for people to learn how to create the life that they really want and deserve.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I was going to ask you to tell us about the e-course, but you beat me to it. So this is the part of the show where we're going to start wrapping things up. And so you dropped a lot of wisdom on us and talked about a lot of like very relevant things, because I think expectation is a huge thing in our lives. It can cause a lot of disappointment if we don't know how to manage that the right way. I know I'm guilty of it. And so that's why I say when I have zero expectations, it's like I don't have expectations from other people. Do I wake up and have a positive affirmation? I expect my day to go well. Yes. And I try to don't let that little man talk shit in my head to cause a negative expectation. So for me, like I want to avoid that kind of disappointment by making other people responsible for my positive outcomes in life. So, but I love that. And I think that is, I think a lot of people could benefit from it. So you guys, I'm gonna put all those links in the show notes. So if you're interested in following Art, learning a little bit more about his new e-course, go ahead and check out his link. Go to the links, go at least follow him on all social media platforms, purchase the book perhaps. But if you are someone that is struggling with expectations in life, don't hesitate to reach out and learn more from Art. He's obviously a wonderful man. He has a lot to offer, and it's his birthday. So that would be the best birthday gift ever. So before we say goodbye, what are some last words of wisdom and advice or advice?
I think the biggest take from all of what I've lived throughout my life is we've already talked about being open, being fearless, and I hate to use the word fearless because every single one of us has a fear, but some people let that fear stop them.
Yeah.
And don't let fear stop you from being and living the life that you deserve. That's my message to people. You deserve it. You deserve to live the best life that you absolutely can have. And I could go in on another whole thing about do you deserve it or not, but God believes you deserve it.
Yes.
That's why he keeps you here. And I believe that's why he's kept me here. I mean, he's had more opportunity to take me than you could ever imagine. But, he's kept me here. And people just be fearless, be open, and just be compassionate, loving, kind, and listen to the people around you and listen to your gut.
Yes. Oh, boom. That boom. The very good stuff there, Art. Thank you for sharing that. And I agree. One of my signatures says live fearlessly. So I have in my signatures, because I feel like that's a reminder for people just to not let let life get in your way and be afraid of what the potential possibilities could be. So thank you for those last words of wisdom. It was great talking to you, sharing this time with you, and sharing your birthday with us today. So we really appreciate that.
It's my honor. I'm blessed to be a part of your show and to be a part of your audience's life. And any way I can help anybody, I'm always here. That's
Thank
one
you
thing
for
you'll
that.
learn about me. I am always here.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Art. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Please don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.